Good evening and welcome to the University of St. Francis, located in the heart of Joliet, Illinois, for Game 2 of the 2017 USF Classic. My name is Terry Bonadonna, and I'll be on the play-by-play this evening for the Fighting Saints and the East-West University Phantoms. Game 1 of a two-day tournament for St. Francis. They'll take on the team from Arkansas, Lyon College, tomorrow afternoon. They're looking for their second victory of the season today, going up against East-West. The Saints will start Terry Howard, Jordan Thornton, and Antonio Hughes in the backcourt. Their forwards are Pietro Badalassi and Ian Morrison. East-West counters with Cortland Gillespie, Sherman Carter, and Patrick Rucker as the guards. The forwards are Carl Moore and Ahmad Eshfatari. It's going to be Moore against Morrison for the opening tip to get us started tonight. Just a little bit late as the first game ran a little bit long. And the tip is won by East-West. We are underway. The Phantoms going from left to right here in the first half. And a quick whistle, just 7 seconds in. Not sure what they're sorting out here. Saints, as I said, come in with a record of 1-3 on the season. They've lost their last couple of games, including earlier this week here at home. They dropped their first conference matchup with Governor State. That was on Tuesday. 2 more chances here at home, and then another one later this week on Wednesday, back into the conference season as we are back underway. East-West takes the first shot of the game. It's missed off the back iron from Patrick Rucker. St. Francis comes away with it. Howard ahead to Thornton, and now here's Ian Morrison. Swinging around to the left wing. This is Antonio Hughes. To a cutting Howard. Howard hits on the runner. Nice ball movement on the opening possession for St. Francis, and they take a quick 2-0 lead. Phantoms get the ball back. They're wearing the white uniforms, despite the fact that St. Francis is the home team. Pietro Badalassi comes away with a steal. St. Francis, a rarity at home, wearing the brown and gold as opposed to the usual home whites. Hughes up to Badalassi, and around to the right side, Jordan Thornton. Thornton puts the ball behind his back, drives. Nice layup is good. Jordan Thornton, the sophomore. Beautiful drive and a strong finish. He's got his first 2. The Saints have a quick 4-0 lead. And a timeout called by East-West's bench. Tommy Posley is the head coach of the Phantoms. And just a minute and 5 seconds into the game, he calls the 30-second stopper. No mistaking his displeasure early on with the defense of East-West. Saints have gotten 2 relatively open layups in the first minute of this game. East-West has gotten just 1 shot off, and they've also turned the ball over once. A very quick shot on the first possession, and then the steal on the second possession for East-West. So a dominant start for St. Francis, but again, just a minute 5 seconds in. So I don't think that East-West feels they're getting run out of the gym here. They just want to make sure that doesn't happen. So Tommy Posley calls the quick timeout to try to settle everybody in. Inbounded to Cortland Gillespie into the backcourt, and we're back underway. Across the timeline, Gillespie guarded by Antonio Hughes. Now here's Thornton with the trap. Nice find to Carter, and Sherman Carter knocks down the 3. First points of the game for East-West. Good recognition of the double team there. Pass went to Carter. Now a wide open 3 ball goes in. Ian Morrison gets the double team. Finds Hughes down low, and Hughes scores with the right hand underneath. Saints have a 6-3 lead. They've got 3 baskets from 3 different players. They've not missed a shot, and every one has come from in the paint. There's Carter on the drive, blocked by Morrison. Morrison tries to pull in the rebound, but loses it out of bounds. It'll stay with East-West. Shot clock is not going to reset. It's at 17 seconds right now. And Patrick Rucker will inbound. Trying to get it into Carter, poked away by Antonio Hughes out of bounds. It'll stay with the Phantoms. And they'll have to inbound from the sideline this time, so it'll be Sherman Carter, who's got the only 3 points so far for East-West, getting it in to Patrick Rucker. Carter and Rucker playing a little two-man game, and now off to the left side in Gillespie. Winged over to the left. This is Carl Moore. 4 on the shot clock. Gillespie to Rucker for 3. A little bit too strong. The rebound tapped out to the point guard, Terrian Howard. Howard flings it inside, looking for Pietro Badalassi, but off of his fingertips and out of bounds. And for the first time, the Saints take a possession offensively in which they do not convert for 2 points. Badalassi not happy with himself that he couldn't pull that ball in. Pass was a bit high, a tough one to pull down, but he did get his fingers on it. Couldn't complete the catch. 3-point attempt for Moore is good, and we're tied at 6. Carl Moore from the outside. Just 2 successful possessions now for East-West, but they've been 3-pointers. And so the Saints have seen their lead disappear. Morrison misses. Badalassi gets the rebound and scores. Pietro Badalassi scores his first 2 points, and now every starter has 2 on the board other than Ian Morrison. Morrison, their leading scorer on Tuesday night in that loss to Governor State when he scored 16 points. Pass is tipped, but it does find Gillespie just the same. He'll fire a long-range jumper. No good. Morrison gets the rebound. See if they get Morrison on the board here. Show 5 twos up and down that scoreboard. This is Morrison from 3-point range, passing off to the left side, and Jordan Thornton now lobbed into Morrison. The alley-oop, finished with the layup. So 5 for 5 from the field, and 5 different players have scored the baskets. An excellent start offensively for the University of St. Francis. They are 5 of 6, by the way, not 5 of 5. 3-pointer misses from Sherman Carter, and a loose ball foul is called on East-West. That goes on Cortland Gillespie. It is not just his first, not just the team's first, but the first foul of the game for either side. Sherman Brown will check in for Ahmad Shatari. So a couple of Shermans on the floor now, along with a Cortland, a Patrick, and a Carl for the Phantoms. 10-6 they trail St. Francis, who has the ball. Everybody has scored a basket for the Fighting Saints. Howard nearly lost it, but he does keep it in bounds. Dribbling with the left hand, he passes off to Antonio Hughes. Hughes fakes to the left, drives to the right, pass deflected out of bounds, and that was last touched by the Fighting Saints. 4 minutes gone in this one. 10-6, St. Francis has the lead. They've been extremely efficient with their shooting, but a couple of early turnovers have shot themselves in the foot as well. Their lead not quite as big as it perhaps could be. 3-pointer from the corner rattles home for Carl Moore, and now the lead is down to just 1. East-West has only 3 baskets in the game, but they've all been from long range. There's Thornton on the runner. It rolls around the rim a couple of times and falls through. Jordan Thornton has 2 more points. He's got 4. Quick shot on the other end. 3 ball is good from Carl Moore, and his foot was actually over the line there. Just 2 points. There's a 1-point St. Francis lead. So that is the first 2-point shot of the game for East-West. Antonio Hughes bounces to Pietro Badalassi. Back out to Hughes. He'll try the 3. It's good. Nothing but net from Antonio Hughes. The Saints have their first 3-pointer of the game. They are red hot shooting the ball right now, but their lead is only 4. And an offensive foul called on East-West. That's the second foul on East-West. It goes on Sherman Brown, his first. And a substitution for St. Francis. A couple of substitutions. Hayden Witt joins Ryan Peter in the game. Hughes and Badalassi head to the bench. And Witt will be the inbounder immediately after entering against a light full court press. It's Terrian Howard, guarded by Cortland Gillespie. Howard bounces to Peter at the free throw line. Nice pass to a cutting Hayden Witt, but Witt misses on the layup. Battling for his own rebound. It's loose and picked up by Sherman Brown of East-West. 3-pointer for Moore. Too strong. Offensive rebound, Gillespie back up and in. Cortland Gillespie makes it a one-possession game with his first bucket of the night. 15-13 our score. There's Howard on the runner in the lane. No good. Witt flying in for the offensive rebound. He fires it to Ian Morrison, who's guarded by 4 players, and he travels. Morrison had 4 defenders on him. Everybody else on the floor was open. Rather than pass out, he actually freed himself up for an open layup, getting around all 4 of them. But he took a step in order to free himself. So the traveling violation called. It's the 3rd turnover already committed by St. Francis. We're 6 minutes into the game, and East West can tie or take the lead here. This is Rucker on the drive with the left hand. Rucker dishes to Brown. Nice fake, and he goes up strong for the 2. We're tied at 15 as Sherman Brown has his first 2 points. Jordan Thornton up to Hayden Witt. Ryan Peter left side, lobs it in for the center Morrison. Triple team. Morrison's pass deflected and knocked out of bounds by East West. Last time Morrison touched the ball, he was immediately surrounded by 4 white shirts. This time 3 white shirts on him. So it's been tough sledding so far for Morrison. The Saints have shot well, but they find themselves in a tie right now, 15-15, with a timeout on the floor. I'll step aside for a moment. Back in a bit. 13:35 to go, first half. Great start shooting-wise for St. Francis tonight. They're 7 of 10 from the field. 1 of 1 from three-point range, but they've turned the ball over 3 times. And East West has knocked down 3 early three-pointers. So the Phantoms, who have had a few more opportunities because of those turnovers than the Fighting Saints have had, right there at 15-15. In fact, the Phantoms have shot the ball pretty well, too. 6 of 12. So far, they've got 8 points on 3 of 4 shooting from Carl Moore. Antonio Hughes, currently on the bench, is the Fighting Saints leader with 5 points. 13:35 to go, first half. St. Francis basketball. It's Jordan Thornton inbounding. Gabe Harris is in there with him. This is Ian Morrison on the left block, and a whistle away from the ball. We've got a foul on East West. I believe that's the call. No, they're not going to call a foul. I don't know, maybe a clock issue. They stop play. Reset the shot clock to 11 seconds, and here we go. Inbounded to Morrison, right back to Thornton. Open 3, falls. Saints back in front as Jordan Thornton knocks down his first 3 of the game. He's got 5 points. Rucker to the left, and Carter took a step before taking a dribble. That's a traveling violation. So St. Francis has a 3-point lead, and now they've got the ball back. They got off to a good offensive start in this one, led 4-0. Just a minute in, and that was their largest lead so far. They can take a little bit more than that with a made basket here. Morrison on the drive, layup is good. Ian Morrison has his second field goal, and the Saints do capture a 5-point advantage. 20-15, a lot of offense so far. We've played only 7 minutes. This is Cortland Gillespie. Carter up top to Rucker. Rucker drives and kicks outside. Gillespie for 3, tightens it up, making a 3-pointer. Cortland Gillespie's got 5 points. East-West not going away easily here in the first half. As no matter how well St. Francis has played offensively, Phantoms have stuck with them, and there's a turnover for St. Francis, their 4th. Morrison trying to find Gabe Harris on the cut, deflected off of Harris's hand and out of bounds. So again, East-West can tie or take the lead. They've not yet held the lead. Garrett Jackson into the game at center for the Saints. Jordan Thornton, the only starter still on the floor. This is Rucker into Brown. Brown against a double team. Backs down, passes out to Moore. Moore on the runner, scores to tie it up. 20 all, it's the third time the Saints and the Phantoms have been even. Carl Moore, by the way, already up to 10 points as a foul was called on Sherman Carter on the reach-in. Third team foul. It's the first on Carter. Bounced into Jackson, right back to Thornton, three-pointer. Rolls around and this time falls out. It was halfway down. Just could not hold. Knocked out of bounds by East-West. The Saints will keep it. It's the second time today, though, that Thornton has had an open three-point look off of his own inbounds play. East-West will have to be a little bit more careful about that particular play. Inbounded to Hayden Witt, and Witt, I think, is called for a foul, or is that one going to go on Carter? Sherman Carter called for his second foul in the last couple of seconds. And he may have to depart here with 11:54 to go in the first half. Fourth foul on the team. The Saints have not yet been called for one. Inbounded to Jackson, who hands it right back to Thornton. Thornton loses the ball. Picked up by Sherman Brown, and here come the Phantoms. Pull-up jumper, Rucker knocks it down from just inside the arc. East-West takes their first lead of the night, 22-20. 11 and a half minutes to play in the first half, and turnovers continue to be a problem for the Fighting Saints. Thornton crosses over, drives, gets into the lane, ball stripped and taken away. Carl Moore comes out with the steal, and Patrick Rucker is fouled by Garrett Jackson. First foul called on St. Francis. It is, of course, a non-shooting foul. First on Garrett Jackson. And Antonio Hughes checks in for Jordan Thornton. Hughes had 5 points before getting a breather. Back out there now, the only starter on the floor, replacing Thornton, who had been in that designation. Patrick Rucker passes it across half court to Brown, gets it back, and over to the right side, Sherman Carter steps inside the arc, jumper no, rebounded by Hayden Witt. Here comes Gabe Harris on the move for the Fighting Saints. Antonio Hughes fires it into Jackson. Jackson back out to Hughes, three-pointer from the corner, off the mark. Long rebound goes out to Brian Ashbury. East-West on the run. This is Rucker drawing the foul and hitting the shot. East-West extends their lead to 4. They're on a 9-0 run. And a chance to make it a 10-0 run and a 5-point lead from the free throw line. Patrick Rucker, 4 points so far on the evening. There's number 5. That was the first free throw of the game for either team. 25-20, East-West has scored the game's last 10 points. Gabe Harris ahead to Hayden Witt, and they break the press. Antonio Hughes guarded very tightly, and now a double team, and Rucker is called for the foul. Sherman Brown had him stood up. Solid defense by Brown. Rucker came in unnecessarily aggressive. Called for the bump and his first foul. Fifth foul called against East-West, so the Saints are inching closer to those free throws in the bonus. More than half the first half still to be played. Hayden Witt, open look from the corner. Misses the three-pointer short, but it's an offensive rebound for Garrett Jackson. Witt will try another three, this time from the top of the key. No, but another offensive rebound. Hughes bounces once, dishes to Jackson. Right elbow, jumper falls. Garrett Jackson has his first 2 points. He did not score on Tuesday night against Governor State. Playing some big first half minutes here, though. In fact, Ryan Marks going with a number of subs here. A lot of the reserves getting some big minutes. The starters had built a lead before being taken out. This is Brown backing down on Witt, up with the right hand, off the glass, no. Ashbury misses on the follow. Here's Antonio Hughes with the long rebound. He wants to run, taking around a couple of defenders, spins into the lane and misses underneath. Rebounded by Rucker. Lobbed ahead for Moore. Up top for Ashbury, and Ashbury throws it down. The alley-oop, Moore to Ashbury. East-West back up by 5. Gabe Harris against the trap, finds Hayden Witt. And now an open Ryan Peter, left side 3. Good! Ryan Peter, a big three-pointer. Saints are within 2. That'll stop the bleeding a little bit. A good transition bucket for St. Francis. Here's Moore in the post, passing out to Carter. Moore gets it back, guarded on the perimeter by Ryan Peter. He pulls out with 10 seconds to shoot, steps into a 3. Carl Moore misses long, and Antonio Hughes comes down with another rebound. Hughes has been good on the boards today, but he throws the ball away. Ashbury picks it up, and Ashbury draws the foul, going to the bucket. He'll get 2 free throws as the foul is called on Hayden Witt. Saints are playing with a lot of energy tonight, but a lot of turnovers as well. 7 of them in the first 11 minutes of today's game. That's been the killer for them, the reason that they're trailing by 2 points right now. They've shot the ball well, but East-West just getting a lot more opportunities as Ashbury gets a pair of free throws and makes the first. Pietro Badalassi back in for Hayden Witt. Again, Ryan Marks going with a good portion of his second unit for much of tonight's first half. Still 3 reserves on the floor. As Ashbury makes them both, it's a 4-point East-West lead. Gabe Harris to Pietro Badalassi for St. Francis. Badalassi a high dribble, and now he throws it away. It was a light full court press, but it played with Badalassi a little bit just the same, as he fired it across court to Antonio Hughes too high. The ball raised off his fingertips and out of bounds. Peter and Harris check out. Howard Thornton back in. So now 4 of 5 starters are back on the floor. We'll see if St. Francis can go on a little run. A lob for Moore, and off the mark. It's off of Moore's hand and taken away. Garrett Jackson will get credit for the steal. Howard finds a wide open Jordan Thornton. Thornton drives the baseline, dishes to Hughes. Good find, and Hughes finishes underneath. Beautiful play by Jordan Thornton, and Antonio Hughes has had himself a nice first half. 7 points to go along with 3 rebounds and an assist for him. Carter finds Spencer at the foul line. Spencer misses the jumper long. First shot attempt of the game from Eric Spencer, and it does not go the Phantoms' way. Here is Howard dishing out to Hughes. Hughes drives the baseline and draws the blocking foul on Eric Spencer. That's the 6th on East-West, so they're at their limit. 7:53 to play first half. Saints trail by 2, and they'll get to inbound from the baseline. Ian Morrison back in for Garrett Jackson. Thornton looking for help. He finds Antonio Hughes in the corner. Hughes bounces it into Morrison. Morrison makes his move and is blocked from behind by Spencer. Morrison blocked by Eric Spencer, 5 inches shorter. Showing his jumping ability right there. Morrison never saw him. East-West basketball. Patrick Rucker gives it to Carl Moore and gets it right back. Moore once again over to the left side. A drive from Brian Ashbury, and Ashbury draws the foul going to the hoop. Blocking foul called against St. Francis, and it will go on Antonio Hughes. His first, it's the team's 4th, and it is a shooting foul. Ashbury back to the line for 2. Hit them both a few moments ago. East-West has not missed a free throw today, 3 of 3. St. Francis hasn't gotten one. And they will not be shooting free throws here. Everybody on the floor thought it was a shooting foul, but the refs have corrected the situation. It was on the floor. So an inbounds play instead. Nice fake by Spencer, drives around Morrison, and his pass is deflected out of bounds by St. Francis. It'll stay with the Phantoms. Carl Moore, the trigger man this time. Lobbed high for Ashbury. Up with the right hand off the glass. No. Rebounded by Hughes. Outlet pass to Jordan Thornton. Thornton bounces ahead for Terrion Howard, who can't corral it initially, but does keep it in bounds and keep the possession alive. 20 on the shot clock. It's Thornton on the left wing. Looking for a screen from Ian Morrison. He steps to his right, fires a long three-pointer. He misses it, but Pietro Badalassi comes away with the rebound. Nice hustle play by the junior. Terrion Howard takes control once again with a fresh shot clock. He backs it all the way up to the half-court circle. Shot clock is down to 16 seconds now as Howard starts to make his move. He picks up his dribble. Thought about the long three, but instead he passes off to Jordan Thornton. Thornton gives it inside to Badalassi. Shoveled back out to Howard. Misses the three on the air ball, but on the weak side, that's Ian Morrison cleaning it up and putting the ball back in. We're tied at 29. Not the most graceful possession there for the Fighting Saints, but it ends with 2 points, so they'll take it. East-West trying to reclaim the lead, but a wide-open three misses from Sherman Carter, and Hughes takes it the other way. Hughes into the teeth of the defense, blocked but a foul. 6:08 to play, first half, 29 up. Antonio Hughes is fouled and is going to the free throw line. That's the third foul on Sherman Carter. So trouble for the East-West starting guard. I was surprised they stuck with him for as long as they did with 2 fouls. But he's going to have to sit down now with 3. Hughes makes the first free throw, and St. Francis is back in the lead. Saints have led for the majority of this first half, but they found themselves down by as many as 5 just a few moments ago, 25-20. Since then, they've outscored East-West 11-4 as Hughes makes both free throws, and it's a 2-point lead for the Fighting Saints. Cortland Gillespie passes to Carl Moore, and his pass is deflected and stolen. Hughes ahead to Thornton, and Thornton flies in for the layup. Saints by 4. They're on an 8-0 run. Gillespie loses the ball. It's picked up by Howard ahead to Badalassi. Badalassi gives it to Thornton, and Thornton finishes with the layup. St. Francis has matched East-West with a 10-0 run of their own. 35-29, the Saints have their largest lead so far tonight. Patrick Rucker dribbles once to the right and passes to his left. Cortland Gillespie back to Rucker. His pass is deflected out of bounds. It'll stay with the Phantoms. Patrick Rucker, the inbounder. We've got a timeout on the floor first. 5:13 to play, first half. St. Francis 35, East-West 29. Back in a minute. .5:13 to play in the first half. The Saints have a 6-point lead, their largest so far tonight. At 35-29, they're on a 10-0 run. And when the two teams return to the floor, it will be East-West basketball with 13 seconds on the shot clock. Jordan Thornton leading all scorers tonight with 11 points on 5 of 7 shooting. A good start for him. But how about the work of Antonio Hughes? 9 points, 5 rebounds for the junior guard. He's also gotten a pair of assists, and he's played well defensively with a steal. As a whole, St. Francis 4 steals in the game so far. East-West ball, he inbounded to Cortland Gillespie. Gillespie walks it back to the midcourt circle, 8 to shoot. He walks into the defense of Jordan Thornton, now driving to the left side, layup, no, but a foul. Nice drive by Cortland Gillespie, and he's got a chance to turn it into 2 points. Fifth foul on St. Francis, the first on Thornton. Nobody on the Fighting Saints has more than one. First free throw misses off the front iron. East-West is in a little bit of foul trouble, in particular from number 2, Sherman Carter. He's committed 3 fouls and is on the bench. 1 of 2 from the line. It's a 5-point game. And here comes the press. Antonio Hughes across half court. Hughes flies it to the right side. Howard back out to Jordan Thornton to reset things. Thornton walks it to the right. Pull up 3-pointer for Thornton off the mark. Thornton today 4 of 4 shooting from 2-point range, just 1 of 4 from outside. Here's Rucker for 3. Patrick Rucker misses off the back iron. Offensive rebound. Ashbury misses. There's the follow from Cortland Gillespie. And Gillespie makes it a 3-point game. East-West has halted the Saints' 10-0 run with 3 points in a row. 1-score game again. Badalassi may have gotten away with the travel, but he throws it away. It's intercepted by Brown. Brown ahead to Rucker, and Rucker draws the foul on the other side. No offensive foul, on Patrick Rucker. Rucker is called for his second foul, and a timeout is called by St. Francis. 4 minutes, 14 seconds to go in the first half. It's just a 30-second timeout called by the Fighting Saints. Saints shooting 56% here in the first half. Their problem on offense, though, has been turnovers. 9 of them committed through the first 16 minutes of this game. So that's something that they would like to get fixed up as we move along. Other than that, they've played very well. Solid defense. Like I said, great shooting. They've also out-rebounded East-West by the whopping margin of 17-10. In fact, on St. Francis's offensive end, the Saints are out-rebounding the Phantoms. They've got 7 offensive boards. East-West has only 5 from their defense. Here we go, out of the timeout. Terry and Howard handling the ball. Howard over to Badalassi. Now to the left side, Antonio Hughes. Pass is intercepted. That's the 10th turnover of the game. Ashbury taking it into the D. Ashbury up with the right hand, lays it in. Nice finish right there. Ryan Ashbury makes it a 1-point game. Badalassi to Thornton. Looking inside, did not have Morrison. Instead, he gets it out. Now Morrison down low. Morrison against the double team, kicks it out to Howard. Here's Thornton on the drive, back to Howard. Fakes the 3, steps to his left, fires the 3, and misses short. Saints are struggling from the outside tonight, as they did in their most recent game. Drive from Gillespie and an offensive foul call. Cortland Gillespie is whistled for his second. It's the team's 9th. And East-West now has 3 players who have committed at least 2 fouls. Hayden Witt back in with Ryan Peter. Badalassi Hughes, sit down. Just over 3 minutes to play in the half. Saints by 1. Peter bounces inside to Morrison against the double team. Back out to Peter. Here's Howard. Over to Thornton. Fired into Morrison. Wide open. Hayden Witt on the left side. Drives for the uncontested layup. Morrison gets the assist. All too easy for Witt once he got that pass. Gillespie, left side, guarded by Peter. Over to Carl Moore. He had 10 early points, but has gone quiet. Sherman Brown out to Patrick Rucker. Rucker gets inside the perimeter. Long range 2, in and out. Rebound tap to Ian Morrison. And Morrison will draw the foul. He was hacked by Sherman Brown. A little too aggressive going after that takeaway. That's Brown's second foul. And Morrison will walk to the other end where he'll get 2 free throws, as that is the team's 10th foul. So double bonus now. Morrison has 6 points so far in the game. First free throw attempts. Good game so far for Morrison. 6 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, like Antonio Hughes. He's filled the stat sheet. And he's adding a point right now up to 7. The lead is 4, and Morrison has one more free throw coming his way. 2:35 on the clock for the first half. Second free throw misses. Rebound tipped by Hayden Witt, out of bounds. He was tipping it back, looking for one of the guards, but instead it goes out the sideline. East-West basketball, they trail by 4. They've gone on a few solid runs in this first half, though. Trying to take the lead back before halftime. Into the corner, Rucker drives the baseline. Rucker kicks it to the other side and more. Lob down low, Brown out to Ashbury. Free throw line jumper, misses short. Rebound tipped by Morrison, out of bounds. Fresh 30 seconds on the shot clock. A stale 2:09 to go in the first half. Gillespie, guarded by fellow number 1, Terrion Howard, shakes free of him. Step back jumper, no good. Rebound tipped by Witt over to Ian Morrison. Pulls down his 4th board of the game. Ahead to Hayden Witt, open underneath, and Hayden Witt finishes. He's got 4 points. Thornton gets his 3rd assist. 6-point lead for St. Francis, matches their biggest, as Jordan Thornton jumps the passing lane and knocks that ball out of bounds. Sharon Clark into the game for East-West. Portland Gillespie takes a seat. Phantoms still playing both Patrick Rucker and Sherman Brown with 2 fouls. Sherman Carter's on the bench with 3 of them. This is Brown against the Saints zone defense. He's in some trouble as he's picked up his dribble. He finds Carl Moore. Back out to Brown. Over to Clark. Clark's pass deflected and kept on the front side. 3 on the shot clock. Deep 3 from Rucker. No good. Rebounded by Terrion Howard. Howard flying down the floor. Gets inside. Layup is good. Terrion Howard takes it coast to coast for his 2nd field goal of the night. 4 points for Howard, an 8-point lead for St. Francis. Biggest for either side. Brown, long 2, no. And it drops out of bounds. Nice effort by Ashbury to save that one, but it did touch the baseline, officially out of bounds. St. Francis ball, leading by 8. Ryan Peter passes up to Jordan Thornton. That pass nearly intercepted, but Thornton hangs on. Now Thornton drives. Layup with the right hand is good. Jordan Thornton continues his excellent early play. 13 first half points for the sophomore. Clock down to 30 seconds for the half. And a big lead now for St. Francis. 3-pointer is blocked by Morrison. A battle for the rebound. Touches out of bounds. I think it touched the leg of Jordan Thornton, who was lying out of bounds at the time. So it'll stay with East-West. They turned the shot clock off. I don't think possession ever changed. So East-West should still be on the clock, which would be at about 18 seconds, I think. (44-34), St. Francis in front. Good start for the Saints. East-West went on a 10-0 run midway through this half. And they took the lead. We're up by as many as 5 points. St. Francis came storming back. They've outscored East-West over the last 8 minutes or so. 24-9. Shot clock is at 13 seconds as Patrick Rucker takes it outside. Rucker gets it to Brown. Back to Rucker, 6 to shoot. 11 seconds on the game clock. Brown, step back jumper from just inside the free throw line, no good. 5 seconds to go in the half. Here's Howard. Howard driving on Rucker, step back, long 2, short, tip is good from Ryan Peter. They'll count it. Ryan Peter in the right place for that miss. He tips it in at the buzzer, and the Saints on a big run to end the first half will head into the break with a 46-34 lead over East-West. I'll step aside for halftime. Back in about 15 minutes for the second half of action. Saints by 12. We're just about ready to start half number 2 here at the University of St. Francis. Terry Bonadonna with you for the Fighting Saints in the 2017 USF Classic. 2 games in 2 days for St. Francis. It's going to be tough turnaround. They got the late one tonight and then an afternoon contest tomorrow at 2 o'clock. But let's focus on this one for right now because it is, up to this point, going St. Francis's way. They lead East-West 46-34, shooting 59% from the field compared to East-West's 37%. Saints are only 3 of 11 on 3-point shots, but from 2-point range, they're shooting 74%, 17 for 23. Their leading scorer, Jordan Thornton, 13 points on 6 of 9 shooting. Thornton is 5 for 5 on 2-pointers, just 1 of 4 on 3-pointers. So very emblematic of the way the team has played today. Get the ball inside. Good things have been happening. Thornton also has 3 assists today. Antonio Hughes had a nice first half, 9 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. Ian Morrison had 7 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. The one problem for St. Francis, they did turn the ball over 10 times in that first half. East-West turned it over 8 times. They also got 10 points from Carl Moore. He scored 10 of their first 20, but none of the last 14. 4 assists for Patrick Rucker lead the way. Brian Ashbury has 5 rebounds, 6 points, and 3 steals in only 11 minutes. A lot of foul trouble for East-West. Sherman Carter sat out the end of that first half with 3 of them, and they've got a couple of players with 2 fouls as well. Cortland Gillespie, Patrick Rucker, Sherman Brown all have 2 fouls. Nobody for St. Francis has more than 1. We're ready to start the second half here. It's going to be St. Francis basketball. They have, of course, switched sides, going from left to right now. And they've got Terrion Howard controlling the basketball as we're back underway. Antonio Hughes to Pietro Badalassi. Finds Thornton underneath, out to Howard in the corner. Bounce between the legs of Morrison. Badalassi is there to pick it up and draw the foul, going up for 2. Fortuitous bounce for Pietro Badalassi and the Fighting Saints right there. Howard was trying to find Morrison in the post. Bounce came in a little bit too close to Morrison, went between his legs, and Badalassi was there to clean it up. First free throw is good. St. Francis on a 17-4 run since this game was tied 30-30. First half featured 5 ties, 2 lead changes. But the Saints continue their run, 18-4 now, as they have built a game-high 14-point lead. East-West basketball. This is Carter on the drive, getting bumped and going to the free throw line. Sherman Carter again picked up 3 fouls in the first half, so he was mostly a non-factor. Did play 13 minutes, but he was playing a lot of those minutes with 2 fouls on him. First free throw is good. Fouls the second on Antonio Hughes. He is the first Fighting Saint with more than 1. Carter just 1 of 5 from the field for 3 points in the first half. He's got 2 quick points here in the second. Just 30 seconds into the half. Clock's not running right now, and that's why the whistle is blown. They've got to stop play to restart the clock. About 5 seconds went down there and never ran. So they'll start over. Here comes the press. And it's beaten fairly easily by Terrion Howard. Over to Jordan Thornton. Back to Howard. Hughes gives it to Howard, who backs it outside. Bounce to Morrison on the elbow. Nice find. Antonio Hughes cut into the basket for 2. Morrison picks up his 4th assist of the night. And Hughes is in double figures with 11 points. Moore outside to Carter. Carter drives in the lane. Floater is blocked by Morrison. Here comes Howard. Terrion Howard pushing it up all the way in on his own, and he scores with the left-handed layup. St. Francis stays hot on offense. 52-36 is the lead. They outscored East-West 6-2 to begin the second half. Corner 3 for Moore. It goes in, but it hit one of the wires over the backboard on the ricochet, so it's an out-of-bounds play. The basket will not count, and that's a tough break for Carl Moore, who bounced it high off the rim. The shot ended up falling through, but out of bounds is the call. So the Phantoms are still looking for their first field goal of the half. Morrison backing down on Eshtatari, up with the left hand, no. Offensive rebound, Badalassi draws the foul. That was Ahmad Eshtatari on the defense of Ian Morrison. He's got the start in today's game, played only 4 minutes in the first half. We didn't see him again. And he was not one of the many phantoms in foul trouble. He had not committed any. We just didn't see him for a while, and now he is back out there to start the second half as Badalassi hits the first free throw. That foul is called on Patrick Rucker. Same guy who committed the foul a few minutes ago on Badalassi that sent him to the line. That's 4 in the game for him now. Second free throw misses. Eshtatari has the rebound. And here's Moore over to Carter in the corner. 3 ball, good. Sherman Carter for 3, a much-needed three-pointer for East-West. They are within 14, 8 points for Carter. Howard on the runner, it goes down. Tarian Howard scores his 7th and 8th points. That three-pointer a moment ago for Sherman Carter, the first field goal of the second half for East-West, and their scoring drought from the field at least had gone back to the last couple of minutes of the first half as well, as this time Carter's long three-pointer misses, but it's an offensive rebound. Portland Gillespie stripped and loses the ball. Hughes comes away with it. Hughes guarded by Carter down the floor. Into Ian Morrison, guarded by Eshtatari. And we've got a foul on the floor, called against Ahmad Eshtatari. And he's going to check out of the game. He's not checking out right now because of the foul. There was a play on the other end of the floor. It looked like he had shown a bit of a lack of effort on a rebound. Three-pointer from Howard misses short. Ian Morrison comes down with the offensive rebound and draws the foul. He's going to the free throw line. Eshtatari on the other end of the floor, a little bit out of sorts. Looked like he didn't quite go after a loose ball the way that he could have, and immediately after that play, Tommy Posley motioned to Sherman Brown, told him to get in there. And then it didn't make matters any better that Eshtatari was called for the foul on this end of the floor. Morrison misses the free throw. It's already 4 fouls against East-West this half, and Sherman Brown has whistled for his 3rd. Patrick Rucker's got 4 of them. He's out. And Brian Ashbury, who played a good 11 minutes off the bench in the first half, is back in. Morrison hits 1 of 2. It's Saints by 17. Gillespie looking for help, finds Ashbury. Over to Carter. Jordan Thornton jumps in and tips that ball away, but Carter sticks with it. Carter on the drive, draws the foul, and gets the roll. So now a chance for a three-point play for Sherman Carter. He's up to 10 points, the second phantom in double figures scoring. And the foul is called on Jordan Thornton, his 2nd, and the 2nd on the team. Free throw is good. Sherman Carter has got all 8 points for East-West this half. Saints beat the press. It's Hughes picking the ball up and bouncing it over to Tarian Howard. Howard drives down the center, dishes to Badalassi, misses on the reverse layup. Morrison gets the rebound and puts it in. Ian Morrison in double figures with 10 points. Portland Gillespie bounces it to Ashbury and gets it right back. Gillespie drives, nearly strips, but he's fouled. Howard called for his first foul, 3rd on the team. Been a much more physical second half, at least a lot more fouls called than we saw during the first. 15 fouls called total in the first half. In 20 minutes, we've already seen 7 in just 3.5 minutes here in the second half. Eric Spencer comes in for Sherman Brown as the first free throw goes down. Cortland Gillespie, the first phantom to score other than Sherman Carter in this second half. Took 3.5 minutes. Carter did have 8 points to his credit during that time. Here's Howard. Howard double team. Dribbling along the sideline. He dishes it off to Badalassi. Now back to midcourt. This is Jordan Thornton over to Hughes. Hughes trying to bounce it into Morrison. It's kicked by Brian Ashbury. Saints will keep it with the shot clock reset to 20. Thornton finds Badalassi at the midcourt circle. Walking slowly off to the right side, he pulls out, picks up his dribble, and passes off to Thornton. Thornton around the screen, bounces to the cutting Badalassi. Nice find for Antonio Hughes. Hughes dishes down low to Morrison. Morrison up off the glass and in. Morrison's got 12, one behind Jordan Thornton. As the game high, one of 3 Saints in double figures. Antonio Hughes has 11. Thornton strips the ball away from Sherman Carter, but is called for his 3rd foul. And Carter's going back to the free throw line. 15:42 to play. 16-point lead for St. Francis. And no free throws here, my mistake. It was not a shooting foul. Cortland Gillespie spins into the lane and loses the ball all on his own. Loose ball picked up by Hughes, lobbed head for Thornton. The layup is too strong off the glass. Jordan Thornton misses the wide open layup. On the other end, it's Gillespie bouncing it in for Spencer, and Spencer can't get a handle on it. He loses the ball out of bounds, so things have gotten a little sloppy here over the last minute. Neither team scores during that bizarre stretch of basketball. Here's Terrion Howard getting around Sherman Brown and across half court. Howard up top to Thornton. Lobbed at the high post. Pietro Badalassi, and a foul called on the floor. Foul is called on Eric Spencer. That's Spencer's 2nd. Ryan Peter, Hayden Witt in. Badalassi and Hughes are out. Jordan Thornton will inbound into Hayden Witt. Witt blocked, but he's fouled. And Hayden Witt goes to the free throw line with 15:04 to go in the second half. Witt's got 4 points tonight. 8 different Fighting Saints have scored. Everyone who's appeared in today's game has at least 2 points, except for Gabe Harris, who did not take a shot in his 5 minutes. Witt hits on the first free throw. It was an interesting start to the game. First 5 baskets for St. Francis went to 5 different people. So they had 5 players on the floor, each with 2 points, and they'd only missed 1 shot at that point. Witt hits 1 of 2. Saints struggling a little bit on free throws here tonight, but they lead by 17 points. Spencer out to Ashbury, a drive, a layup. Ashbury gets the roll. Ball stayed on the rim a long time, but Ashbury does now have 8 points. It's a 15-point game, under 15 minutes to play. Ryan Peter into the left corner to Jordan Thornton. Thornton dribbles it out, steps back, 3-pointer, short, and it rolls over the backboard and up on top of the backboard. It's stuck there. I say just get a new ball. That one's not bothering anybody up there. Well, they've got some poles in weight. So Dave Lacetta, the athletic director here at St. Francis, will come on out and poke that ball away from the top of the backboard. Or he'll try to anyway. It's kind of stuck in there. This is one I've never seen before. There he goes. You see it get lodged in the rim, between the rim and the backboard sometimes. I've never seen a ball get stuck behind a backboard. Lodged between the top of the backboard and the pole behind it, but there you have it. East-West basketball, that one did go out of bounds, so it's not a possession arrow play. If it were, though, the possession arrow does belong to East-West. That ball kicked by Ryan Peter. It'll stay with East-West. Carl Moore to Sherman Carter, and Carter knocks down a long-range 3-pointer. Sherman Carter has been very good since halftime. 11 points since the break. 11 of his team's 15. He's got 14 in the game. Peter lobbed in for Morrison. Morrison gets the double team out to the wide open shooter. Ryan Peter misses the three from the corner, and the long rebound goes out to Eric Spencer. Spencer shovels it back to Moore. Right back into Spencer against the double team. Finds Carter on the outside. Carter misses on the three-point attempt this time. Morrison comes away with the rebound and is fouled on the play. And I think that foul is going to go on Sherman Carter. That'll be his fourth. And it's also already the seventh on the team, meaning St. Francis is going to get a 1-and-1 here. 13:47 to play in the second half, and already the Fighting Saints are in the double bonus, or the single bonus, I should say. Gabe Harris is in for Terry and Howard. And we've got a timeout on the floor. 61-49, St. Francis has the lead. I'll step aside for a moment. Morrison shooting free throws after this. 12-point lead for St. Francis. They've been up by as many as 17. East-West currently on a 5-0 run, but the Saints have a chance to stop that because they've got Ian Morrison at the free throw line for a 1-and-1. Saints just 8 of 12 overall from the line tonight. Ian Morrison has made 2 of his 4 attempts. He's had a nice game, 12 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists so far. Morrison trying to add 2 more points to his total right here. East-West has had 3 players commit 3 fouls. They've got 1 player at 4 fouls as Morrison misses the front end of the 1-and-1. That last foul was called on Carl Moore. It was only his first as Carter misses on the runner. Tip misses from Ashbury, but Spencer comes away with the rebound. Back up, no, and Ryan Peter finally clears it for St. Francis. Gabe Harris travels. As I was saying, Carl Moore picked up his first foul. I thought initially that the foul was going to be called on Sherman Carter. He was in the area, but the call went against Moore, and that's a big break for East-West because they need to keep Carter on the floor, still at 3 fouls rather than 4. 13:20 to play in the game. This is Sherman Carter. Passing off to Moore on the right side. Fired down low. Ashbury up with the right hand. Gets the roll. East-West back within 10. They were down by 12 at halftime. Harris to Witt over to Ryan Peter. Peter against a double team. Finds Thornton in the corner. Jordan Thornton over to the right side. Peter lobbed in for Morrison and an easy finish for Ian Morrison. Good pass up high from Ryan Peter. Morrison has 3 inches on Brian Ashbury, who is the tallest player on the Phantoms roster. A drive from Moore, blocked by Morrison, but it finds its way over to Sherman Brown, who draws the foul going up for 2. 12:34 to go, second half. 12-point lead for St. Francis. Hayden Witt called for his second foul. It's the 5th on the Fighting Saints, and the first free throw misses from Sherman Brown, just the second free throw that they've missed today. Phantoms are 9 of 11 as a team from the line. Second free throw is through. And here's the full court press. Witz looking for Harris. Instead, he fires to Ryan Peter, and it's taken away by Carl Moore. Moore bounces to Ashbury. Ashbury's fouled by Witt, going in for the one-handed jam. So the pressure defense leads to a turnover, which leads to a foul. Hayden Witt called for his third. And Brian Ashbury, 2 free throws coming. Ashbury's had a very nice night off the bench. He and Sherman Brown have gotten the lion's share of his playing time at the center position, as opposed to Ahmad Ashvatari, who started the game. First free throw is good. Ashbury this evening has 11 points and 7 rebounds. He's also got 3 steals on his resume tonight. He makes it a single-digit deficit for the first time this half. Here's Gabe Harris ahead to Jordan Thornton across the timeline. Thornton against the trap, in some trouble. Bounces it ahead to Hayden Witt. Witt kicks it out to Peter. Peter drives into the lane and passes back out to Thornton. East-West will back off on the trap now. Morrison bounces to a cutting Peter, and Peter is called for the travel. Ryan Peter got stuck underneath the basket there. He caught the ball awkwardly, jumped up into the air, and as he bounced it, he was called for the travel. And Antonio Hughes is back in, and Jordan Thornton gets a breather for St. Francis. Thornton's had a nice night today. So is Hughes. 11 points as he re-enters the game. Carter drives, weaves his way between a couple of defenders, but misses on the layup. Rebounded by Peter. Ahead to Hughes. Hughes pulls it up at the three-point line. And now he's stuck, passing out to Ian Morrison. Nice find. Morrison to Witt, and Hayden Witt lays it in. Another assist for Ian Morrison. He's got 5 of those in the game. From the St. Francis center. Carl Moore passes off to Sherman Carter. Carter drives, draws the contact, and the foul called. He'll go to the line for 2 shots. We've seen a lot more fouls called in the second half than the first, and I don't think the game is being officiated any differently. But East-West playing a much more aggressive offense, really taking it into the St. Francis defense. In the first, we saw them settle for a lot of jump shots. That has not been the case here in the second half. Carter makes the first free throw. Sherman Carter's got 15 to lead all scorers. Garrett Jackson is in for Ian Morrison. Full free throw's good. 13 points in the second half for Sherman Carter. And we've got a timeout. Timeout called by East-West. 65-55 is the score. St. Francis holds the lead. First half went back and forth. Saints led by as many as 5 points early, but a 10-point run for East-West gave them a 5-point lead, which has been their largest. St. Francis started to pull away late in the first half. They broke the 30-30 tie and went on a 16-4 run to end the first half of play. East-West, though, has stayed in it. They were down by 12 at halftime, and they kept it within 9 points up to this point in the game. So they have done a nice job hanging around, mostly because of Sherman Carter, who has scored 13 points since halftime. 13 of his team's 22 since the break. We've had 5 ties, 2 lead changes, but the Saints have led ever since they made it 32-30, or rather 31-30 on a free throw back in the first half. East-West takes the floor with a couple of new players out there. Roland Watkins making his first appearance, along with Ashbury and Spencer. Carl Carl Moore and Sherman Brown in the backcourt right now. Tommy Posley called the timeout to set up a full-court pressure defense, one that the Saints have not seen today. A diamond setup as Ryan Peter catches it to half court, gets across the timeline, and Gabe Harris is there to clean it up after Peter had the ball stripped. Phantoms back up into their standard defense now. Hughes. Jackson at the left elbow, knocks down the jumper. Garrett Jackson has 4 points. Saints by 11. Spencer looking for some help. Gives it up to Roland Watkins. Now here's Carl Moore. 15 to shoot. Moore drives to the left, draws some contact. Offensive foul. Offensive foul called on Carl Moore. That's his second. Here's Harris. Over to Hayden Witt. Witt gets it across to Ryan Peter. Bounce down low, Jackson. Garrett Jackson backing in, hands it off to Peter. Harris steps inside for 2. Yes, knocks down the jumper. Gabe Harris has his first 2 points, and now all 9 Saints who have appeared today have scored. 13-point lead for St. Francis as they've scored a quick 4 in a row following the East-West timeout. Spencer bounces once and passes outside. Ashbury has it knocked away from him by Harris, but Spencer tracks down the loose ball. 8 on the shot clock. Way outside, it's Watkins driving inside the 3-point arc. He throws up a shot. It goes down, but it won't count as a foul is called on the floor. So the shot doesn't count because the foul was on the floor, but that is the team's 8th, so it's free throws for Watkins anyway. Hayden Witt departs. Pietro Badalassi is back in. $9:50 to go in the game. 1-1 for Watkins, who just checked in, looking for his first point of the night. Rattles home the first free throw. 69-57, East-West, not going away in this game. Two for 2 from the line, and he'll check out. Patrick Rucker is back in. Rucker has been sitting for a long time with 4 fouls. Let's see if he can make a difference now that he re-enters the flow. 9:47. Ryan Peter across court to Gabe Harris. Harris bounces low to Garrett Jackson. Triple team. Jackson rolls it out to nobody. It's out of bounds. There were 3 defenders on him, so Jackson, I think, figured on that play, he just rolled the ball out. Somebody would be there. But no one was. It was between Hughes and Peter. The turnover. St. Francis has been much cleaner in that regard in the second half. They committed 10 turnovers in the first. That's just their 3rd here in the second. This is Rucker weaving his way inside and dishing back out to Spencer. Spencer over to Ashbury for 3. Short. Hughes rebounds. Here comes Gabe Harris on the run. Saints have numbers. Over to Peter in the corner for 3. No. Rebound knocked out. Last touch by East-West. Saints just cannot find their 3-point stroke tonight. They're 3 of 15 from beyond the arc. 26 for 35 on all other shots. So they have been outstanding inside. But the perimeter shooting not going anywhere for them. Hughes. Outside to Harris. Gabe Harris lobs it to Badalassi. Nice quick pass to Hughes. Back out to Peter. Harris thought about the 3. Bounces it to Badalassi. 12 seconds on the shot clock. Gabe Harris drives with the left hand. Layup. No. Tip from Jackson misses. Badalassi gets the rebound. Puts it up and in. Pietro Badalassi scores his 6th and 7th points of the night. 3-pointer in the corner. Very quickly shot there by Carl Moore. No good, and Jackson gets the rebound. Here's Harris kicking it outside to nobody. It's intercepted by Eric Spencer. Harris found himself caught in too deep, threw it away. Ashbury, yes, and a foul. Off a good feed from Eric Spencer. And a chance at a three-point play here. 8:11 to play in the game. Jordan Thornton, Terry, and Howard, Ian Morrison back in. Saints will have all 5 starters on the floor here. Brian Ashbury has one shot here, and he misses wide to the left. Badalassi chases down the rebound. Hughes bounces to Howard. Saints by 11. Getting late in this one. Still plenty of time for East West not to come back, though, if they get hot. Howard bounces low for Morrison. He's blocked, but fouled. Ian Morrison's going back to the free throw line where he has struggled today. Just 2 of 5, but he'll get 2 shots right here. Fourth foul on Eric Spencer. Morrison's first free throw is good. Spencer joins Patrick Rucker with 4 fouls. Carter and Brown each have 3. Gillespie and Moore have 2 apiece. Morrison's second free throw is good. So Ian Morrison makes 2 of 2. East-West basketball trailing by 13. Rucker into the corner for Moore. It squirts through his hands and out of bounds. Simple pass there, and Carl Moore uncontested. Just took his eye off the ball, and it went right between the hands and out the sideline. Here comes Terry and Howard, guarded one-on-one by Brian Ashbury all the way down the floor. Thornton wings it across court to Hughes. Hughes drives down the lane, layup, no. Rebound tips to Pietro Badalassi, tips it to himself. Hughes inside, scores on the layup this time. Antonio Hughes has 13. There's a drive from Sherman Carter, and Carter kisses it off the glass for 2. Nice looking drive right there by Carter. 18 points for him to lead all scorers. Howard trapped at midcourt. Throws it off to Jordan Thornton. Thornton step in. Short 2-point jumper. Rims out. Battle for the rebound. Won by Patrick Rucker. Lobbed ahead for Carter, who can't catch it initially, but does keep it in bounds. Now off to Carl Moore. Around to the right side. Rucker. Back to Carter. Sherman Carter, guarded up top by Terry and Howard. Drives to the right. Floater. Off the rim, no. Offensive rebound. Ashbury, yes. East-West just not going away here. They're within 11. Just over 6 minutes to go in the game. Howard into the corner for Thornton. Bounce down low to Ian Morrison, who's fouled. Looked like an intentional foul there from Eric Spencer. That's his 5th foul, I believe. I'm not sure what the rationale for that is. It looked like he just wrapped him up and committed the intentional foul, perhaps just to send Ian Morrison to the line because Morrison has struggled, but Morrison customarily a pretty good free throw shooter, around 70%. Now we'll have a timeout here to figure out exactly what the situation is. It's 75-64 St. Francis, and they are going to call it an intentional foul. So we've got the timeout coming. Ian Morrison will get the free throws, and then St. Francis will get the ball back following the intentional foul. We'll clean up a few loose ends in just a moment. Right now, a break. 6:09 on the clock, 75-64. St. Francis leads. Eleven-point lead for St. Francis, 75-64 with 6:09 to play. A bizarre play right before the timeout. Eric Spencer intentionally fouled Ian Morrison underneath the basket. Morrison was posting up and Spencer just wrapped him up. And in the process, Spencer fouled himself out. That was his fifth. He departs with 3 rebounds, 2 assists, did not score any points tonight. I can't understand why the intentional foul. First of all, it's his 5th foul, so he was guaranteeing that he would be done for the day as Morrison misses the first free throw. The other question is, why foul Morrison? Yeah, he struggled from the line tonight, but he's not a bad free throw shooter in general. And he did make 2 of 2 just a minute ago. He makes 1 of 2 this time. The lead is 12, and it's still St. Francis basketball. He made 2 of 2 from the line just about 1 minute ago in game time. They intentionally foul him here. He makes 1 of 2, and St. Francis gets the ball back because it was an intentional foul. Battleassi on the inbounds, bounces it out to Hughes. Hughes into Morrison, spins into the paint, misses on the turnaround jumper. Rebounded by number 24, Brian Ashbury. Here's Patrick Rucker. Rucker dribbles inside and is fouled. Ninth team foul. It's the second on Terrion Howard. 1-1 here for Rucker. Rucker's got 5 points tonight. Make it 6. East-West doing a pretty good job. Every time St. Francis scores, they score. They have not been closer than 9 at any point during the second half. But they are not letting the Saints pull away either. 76-66 our score. 5:45 to go in the game. Biggest lead for St. Francis tonight has been 17. Pietro Battleassi down in the corner for Antonio Hughes. Hughes guarded by Sherman Brown. Fires it down low to Battleassi. Pump fake, back up with it, no good. Rebounded by Ashbury. They can make it a single-digit deficit on this possession. Moore for 3, good. Carl Moore, a big three-pointer. Those are his first points since the first 8 minutes of the game. He had 10 of the team's first 20. And that's the first time he's scored since. He's at 13 now, and there's a foul on Brian Ashbury. He shoves Jordan Thornton right at the timeline, and Ashbury is called for his first foul. It's the team's 10th, so 2 free throws here for Thornton. Nice night so far for Jordan Thornton, 13 points. Been pretty quiet in the second half, though, as he knocks down the first free throw. Big point right there. They had seen their lead go down to 7, back up to 8 for the moment. Thornton getting his first free throw attempts of the game, his first point of the second half. Misses this one, but we've got a lane violation. Patrick Rucker stepped into the lane early. So Thornton will get another shot. It's a big mistake right there by Rucker. So Thornton's third attempt goes through. The lane violation ends up hurting East-West as it leads to an extra St. Francis point. 77-69. Make it 78-69 now our score. But Sherman Carter knocks down a three. Timeout called by East-West, and suddenly Phantoms starting to play like they did early in the game, knocking down three-pointers left and right. And they've cut the lead to 6, 78-72. 5 minutes to go in the game. And East-West calls a timeout. Phantoms now 8 of 21 on three-pointers tonight. St. Francis just 3 for 15 from beyond the arc. Saints, though, 28 for 42 on two-point attempts. So they're shooting 67% from two-point range. It's just when they've backed it out, they've not been so successful. And it's really not a big mystery because most of their two-point shots have been in the paint. When they're getting inside, they're having success, a lot of it. East-West trying to pull off the upset today. East-West University, located downtown Chicago. Their name refers neither to their location in the country, because they are in the Midwest, nor even in the city. They're in the South Loop, but East-West refers to the two campuses. East Campus and the West Campus downtown. They do not have an athletics department over at East-West. The basketball team's the only one that they've got at the school, and clearly competitive. Took on Division I Chicago State just earlier this week, and now here they are at the USF Classic. They'll play Roosevelt tomorrow, but they're giving St. Francis all they can handle tonight as Terrion Howard takes it across half court. Saints able to break the press without too much difficulty. 6-point lead for the Fighting Saints. They've been up by as many as 17. Ian Morrison triple teamed and fouled. Morrison's got 3 bodies around him when he catches the ball. He was looking for somebody to pass it to right there, because obviously somebody was open. The whole team focused on the big man. But he got bumped by Sherman Brown. That's his 4th foul. And Morrison's got 2 free throws. He makes the first. Second shot for Morrison. Rims out. Morrison having a tough night from the line. Just 6 of 11 on his free throws tonight. But he does have 18 points now. Moore out to Rucker. Sherman Carter on the drive. Pulls up. Passes across court to Carl Moore. Down low Brown. Brown up over Hayden Witt. He scores. Sherman Brown makes it a 5-point game with just over 4 to play. Here's Jordan Thornton on the run. Thornton hits the layup, but it won't count. A foul called on Ian Morrison. Morrison was shielding the defenders from getting to Jordan Thornton, and so the layup does not count for Ryan Marks' squad, and it's time for Ryan Marks to talk things over with his team. A 17-point lead has been cut to 5 with just over 4 minutes to play in the game. Timeout on the floor. St. Francis leading 79-74. Sherman Carter has spearheaded the comeback effort from East-West. He's got 21 points to lead all scorers. Brown had just 3 points on 1 of 5 shooting at halftime. Make that 1 of 5 shooting, correct. But here in the second half, he's got 18 points. 5 of 11 from the field since halftime. Brian Ashbury off the bench for East-West. Has himself a double-double, 16 points, 11 rebounds. Ian Morrison's closing in on a double-double for St. Francis, 18 points, 8 boards. Jordan Thornton has 15 points. Antonio Hughes has scored 13. Nice game for Pietro Badalassi, 7 points and 8 rebounds. Saints have gotten a little bit sloppy once again. Remember, they turned the ball over 10 times in the first half. They had been much more careful with the ball early in the second half, but they've committed 4 turnovers in the last 4 minutes of game time and are up to 17 for the game. And East-West taking advantage with some 3-pointers on the other end. They've hit 8 3-balls tonight. Saints only 3 of them. And the lead for St. Francis is 5 as the Phantoms take possession out of the timeout. Carl Moore over to Sherman Carter. Carter around a screen to the right side, going up against the St. Francis zone defense. 3-point attempt for Carter. Does not go. Morrison taps the rebound out to Jordan Thornton. Here comes Thornton taking it into a pair of defenders. He lays it up and in. Outstanding drive from Jordan Thornton against 2 East-West defenders. Big layup for 17 points now for Jordan Thornton. The lead is 7. 3-pointer for Rucker. Off the mark. Hayden Witt works for the rebound and pulls it in. Thornton lobbed ahead to Ian Morrison, all alone, an easy layup. 4 quick points for St. Francis, and their lead is back to a much more comfortable 9. 3:15 to go in the game. 3-pointer for Moore cuts the deficit to 6. Carl Moore from long range. It's his second 3-pointer in the last couple of minutes. He's got 16. Terrian Howard is fouled. Fouled by Sherman Brown, and that's Brown's 5th. Not happy with the call. Howard was in trouble. Against 3 defenders, lost control of the ball, but Brown got him in the arm. So Sherman Brown is done. Terrian Howard is at the free throw line. 3 minutes exactly on the clock. And a 6-point lead for the Fighting Saints, looking for their second victory of the year. Timeout called. Full timeout called by East-West with 3 minutes to go in the game. Game 1 this weekend for St. Francis and for East-West. Both teams will be out here again tomorrow for day 2 of the USF Classic. That day will start at 2 o'clock. St. Francis against Lyon College. The Scots came all the way in from Arkansas and fell in their first game of this event. Tight one earlier tonight against the Roosevelt Lakers. So 3 Chicago area teams this year along with Lyon. Last year, Briar Cliff and Washington Adventist came in. They brought in a flavor from around the country, but this year it's mostly a local event. Roosevelt, as I said, beat Lyon earlier today to improve their record to 8-0. That's the one team here that St. Francis will not see. Roosevelt is a conference foe, so they'll take on Roosevelt later in the year. But they won't see each other in this particular event. Lyon, with their loss earlier today, fell to 0-6, so you know they'll be hungry tomorrow afternoon when they take on the Fighting Saints, especially after such a close, tough loss as they had earlier today against Roosevelt. So it's going to be a tough one tomorrow for St. Francis. They'd love to go into it already with 1 win under their belts, and they're 3 minutes away from that here as Terrian Howard takes his first free throw and knocks it down. 7-point lead for the Fighting Saints. Howard has 9 points for the game. And the second free throw goes through. 85-77, St. Francis. East-West will roll the ball down the floor to delay the starting of the clock, but they've got it going now as Sherman Carter drives down the lane to the right side. His layup is good. Nice looking drive right there from Sherman Carter. He's got 23 points. Thornton lobs it for Hayden Witt, nearly threw it away, but Witt chased it down. Witt throws off to Antonio Hughes. Hughes drives in. Runner off the glass, no. Putback from Morrison, misses, and the rebound is tapped out to Brian Ashbury. Morrison missed a bunny right there. You'd like to have that back. But East-West throws it away. Pass lobbed ahead for Sherman Carter. Nicks off his fingertips, and he can't pull it in. Here comes Terrian Howard. Ahead for Antonio Hughes. Hughes steps inside the 3-point line and backs it out. Passing to Howard. Howard will take some time off the clock as he does make his move now ahead to Hughes. Cross court to Howard. Pull-up jumper from the free throw line is good. Howard into double figures with 12 points. Now 4 Fighting Saints have hit the 10-point mark for the game. Under 2 minutes to play in the game. And the whistle blows. They're going to force East-West to inbound it again as Pietro Badalassi checks in. Or tries to. Not sure why they stopped play there. Badalassi is not going to be able to come in. 1:58 on the clock. 8-point lead for St. Francis, and Badalassi will not check in right now. So here we go. Shot clock reset to 30. The game clock reset to 2 minutes. Carter off balance shot, banks it in. I don't know how that ball went through. Very awkward looking body position for Sherman Carter as he took that one. But he sends it through again. 22 points in the second half for Sherman Carter. And on this end of the floor, it's Jordan Thornton drawing the foul. Second called on Brian Ashbury. Timeout called by East-West. 87 to 81 our score. Six-point lead for St. Francis. Full timeout for East-West. They've got just one timeout remaining. A lot of credit to East-West today. Phantoms have really made a game of this one. It looked early on in the second half like St. Francis was ready to run away with it. They were up by 12 at halftime and then opened up the second half with a big run. They led by 17 points at 56 to 39. And since then, East-West has turned it up. They haven't been dominating play, but there have been a lot of possessions in which they've traded 2 St. Francis points for 3 East-West points, and they've been able to creep back into it that way. St. Francis has turned the ball over 17 times, which has certainly hurt their performance tonight, but East-West has also been a little bit careless with the ball. They've got 15 turnovers tonight. Both teams have made their fair share of mistakes. St. Francis has shot much better overall, 55% to 44, but the 9 three-pointers have helped out East-West quite a bit. Also, the Phantoms have shot better from the free throw line, 86% to 67%, but Jordan Thornton trying to turn around St. Francis's numbers a little bit here. Thornton is officially 2 for 2 from the line tonight. He missed one earlier, but was given another chance because of a lane violation and knocked it down. He knocks this one down. Thornton's got 18 for the game, 88-81 our score. Second shot is true. 1:45 to play, 8-point lead St. Francis. Badalassi in for Witt. Saints put on a full court press for the first time tonight, and the Phantoms have no problem with it. Streaking down the floor, Sherman Carter, an uncontested layup. Antonio Hughes breaking the press for St. Francis, but he throws it away. Intercepted. Portland Gillespie takes it all the way in on the other side and draws the foul. Gillespie came away with the steal. Went straight to the hoop. No passes along the way, and he draws the foul. Jordan Thornton called for his 4th. And Gillespie could bring the Phantoms within 4 from the line here. Brings them within 5 on the first free throw. 11 points for Gillespie. He has not seen much action here in the second half. But a big play late in the game right here. 2 of 2. Hayden Witt comes in to help beat the pressure defense here. Pietro Badalassi to the bench. Terrion Howard inbounds it to Jordan Thornton. And Thornton is immediately fouled. So a minute 24 to go in the game. 4-point game, and East-West is already fouling. I don't quite understand the East-West fouling strategy in today's game. First, there was the intentional foul on Ian Morrison earlier, and now this one. With a lot of time left in just a 4-point game, Phantoms intentionally send one of the Saints' better free throw shooters to the line. Thornton hits the first. Thornton's had a good game. He's matched Ian Morrison now for the team lead with 20 points. One more free throw coming up, and it's good. 6-point lead once again for St. Francis, 91-85, and this time the Fighting Saints will back off their defense and meet Cortland Gillespie at half court. Gillespie flings it inside for Ashbury, through his hands and out of bounds. A very costly turnover from East-West, and it's Saints basketball. We'll see if the Phantoms foul here, as they did quickly on the last possession. Hayden Witt across half court. Witt gives it up to Ryan Peter. Here's Terrian Howard. Howard drives underneath the basket, flips it out to Witt. Witt to Ryan Peter. Timeout called by St. Francis. 11, or make that 12 on the shot clock. 1:01 to go in the game. And St. Francis calls the 30-second timeout to draw up a play here. 6-point lead. A bucket from the Saints right here could go a long way to putting this one on ice. Something they have not been able to do today, although they've held the lead for the entire second half. East-West finally got as close as 4 points within the last minute. You look at some of the stats, and it's hard to believe that East-West is even in the game. Saints have shot 10% better than the Phantoms, 55-44. 11%, I guess, technically. They've out-rebounded them 41-28. But East-West has gotten 11 offensive rebounds, and they've hit 9 three-pointers as well as knocking down 20 of their 23 free throws. And they have been very pesky today as the Saints come back out of the timeout with 12 to shoot. Inbounded to Hayden Witt in the corner. Lob down low. Morrison gives it up to Witt. Witt drives and kicks to Terrian Howard. Howard down the lane, poked out from behind, but it's deflected off the leg of Ian Morrison and out of bounds, and it's another turnover. 19th turnover of the game committed by St. Francis, and East-West has it with 54 seconds left. Down by 6. Here's Patrick Rucker, bouncing it back to Sherman Carter. Over to Ashbury. Gillespie tries the 3. Well short. That one may have been tipped. St. Francis takes over, but Thornton is stripped by Moore, and Moore hits the layup to make it a 4-point game. Timeout, East-West. That's their last one. They've made it a 4-point game with 37 seconds left. St. Francis just sloppy with the basketball all game today. 20 turnovers committed by the Fighting Saints, including 2 in a row at a very critical moment. Just 1 basket on either of those last 2 possessions. And they've got to feel like this game is just about over. But instead, they turn it over, back-to-back tries. East-West turns it into a basket. And here we sit, 91-87. Carl Moore hit the layup following the steal. Moore's up to 18 points for the game now. Sherman Carter is the game leader at 27. 24 of them have come in the second half. It is St. Francis ball here now with just a 6.7 second difference between the shot and game clocks. I would expect East-West to foul immediately if they can't get the steal. They've been fouling at some head-scratching times earlier in the game. Some confusion for East-West as to who's supposed to be on the floor. Watkins was sitting by the scores table, but he is not going to be in right now. Inbounded to Thornton, and he is fouled immediately by Sherman Carter. That's the 4th on Carter. It's surprising to see him in the game right there a little bit, considering coming out of the timeout, East-West knew they were going to be fouling. They had Carter out there with 3 fouls and Rucker with 4 fouls, both on the floor. You'd think maybe they'd have somebody else in for defense and bring them back in for the offense, but Carter does pick up his 4th foul, and Thornton misses on the first free throw. So it will be, at worst, a 5-point deficit for East-West when they get the ball back. 35 seconds on the clock. Thornton makes 1 of 2. He's got 22 points. Hughes is in for Thornton, and that is because Thornton, I think, has those 4 fouls. I want to protect him here, although Hughes has 4 fouls as well. better defender. Here's Carter stepping into a three. Misses it short. Rebound goes out to Terry and Howard is able to get by the initial defender. There's Carter fouling him, and that's the fifth on Sherman Carter. So Carter misses the three-pointer, and now he's done for the day. 27 points, 24 of them in the second half. He fouls out. He'll be replaced by Sharon Clark. And not only was Terry and Howard able to get that rebound and draw the foul to go to the free throw line, but he also was able to run about 5 extra seconds off the clock by outrunning a couple of defenders before Carter finally caught up and hacked him. First free throw attempt is good. One more would make it a 3-possession game. Can't do it. It's a 6-point lead for the Saints. East-West basketball, 23 seconds to play. Here's Gillespie, firing it inside. Clark blocked by Morrison. The ball is loose, chased down by East-West. Rucker for three, short. Clark battles for the rebound, and now he loses it. The ball is on the floor. We've got a tie-up. Possession arrow facing East-West, but the clock down to 7 seconds now in a 6-point game. So it is East-West basketball. They need a quick three and then a steal to have any shot in this one. It goes into Moore, and Moore's taking his time. Now finally steps up, takes the three. It's short, and that will do it. The ball goes out of bounds with 0.9 seconds on the clock, and once the Fighting Saints inbound this thing, it will be over. Goes into Hughes, there's the buzzer, and St. Francis survives a tough test with East-West and comes away with a 93-87 victory. A wild second half there. The Saints had a 17-point lead early in the half. East-West kept chipping away, and finally, in the end, they ran out of time. St. Francis escapes with the 93-87 victory. Let's look at some of the stats from today's game. Saints shot 55% from the field, East-West 42%. Phantoms 32% from beyond the arc. St. Francis just 3 of 15 on their three-point attempts. From the free throw line, East-West 87%, St. Francis 69%, but the Saints had more opportunities. They went 22 of 32 from the line compared to the Phantoms 20 of 23. St. Francis dominated the boards, 44 rebounds to 31. Too many turnovers for the Saints, though, 20 compared to 16 for East-West. The leading scorer overall, Sherman Carter, had 27 points. He went into halftime with just 3 points on 1 of 5 shooting. In the second half, he had 24 points on 8 of 16 from the field. Carl Moore finished with 18 for the Phantoms. Brian Ashbury, an excellent game off the bench, 16 points, 13 rebounds. St. Francis got 22 points from Jordan Thornton on 7 of 13 overall. He was only 1 of 5 from three-point range. So when he was shooting from inside, he had a tough time missing, 6 of 8. But that's the entire team. The rest of the team went 31, or I should say the entire team, including Thornton, went 31 of 47 on 2-point shots tonight. So 22 points for Thornton. Ian Morrison had 20, just missed a double-double with 9 rebounds. He also had 5 assists. Antonio Hughes filled the stat sheet with 13 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists in the game. And Terry and Howard finished in double figures as well with 13 points. All 9 Saints that appeared in today's game scored at least 2 points in the game. Again, our final score, St. Francis 93, East-West 87. With the win, Saints are 2-3 on the year. They've got a chance to even up the record tomorrow afternoon. Quick turnaround. They've got another game in just 14 hours. 2 o'clock start time tomorrow against Lyon College. They lost earlier tonight to Roosevelt, and they'll get their second chance at getting a win here tomorrow afternoon against the Saints, who will look to finish the USF Classic 2-0. Again, our final score, St. Francis 93, East-West 87. That's going to do it for the broadcast tonight. Back at it tomorrow afternoon, so make sure you're tuned in through GoFightingSaints.com and on the St. Francis YouTube channel. 2 o'clock start time tomorrow, St. Francis and Lyon College. Until then, this is Terry Bonadonna signing off for the University of St. Francis from Joliet, Illinois. Good night, everybody.